The Constitutional Court has ruled, as we were discussing a moment ago, that the education departments in South Africa have the power to override a school's admission policy. Now, Graham Bloch, who's a well-known education analyst and has been active in the field for some time, he joins us on the line for more. Good morning, Graham. This has been a saga that's lasted 3 years. It went from the High Court to the Appeal Court and now to the Con Court, and essentially they found in favour of government power over governing bodies. How important is this ruling?
It's very important, and I think that we can't lose whites to the system or middle-class people, so we must understand the wider issues. But I think that Model Cs have got to do more to debate and engage, or former Model Cs, and to discuss the issues, because it is a win-win. The Constitutional Court judgment is very careful. It does give powers to the province to look at how many people there are in the province, but it doesn't say you can just simply override the school.
I think the issue here also, there was a sub-issue, if you like, which I haven't seen reported on, although maybe it's in the judgment, is that the child who was involved in the case, that created the case, the particular case, was apparently a case of jumping the queue. So there was also an issue of the governing body says, we have so many people and you apply and then we admit and then we are full. So there was an allegation that this family had kind of jumped the queue, and I'm not sure that the court dealt with that. But when is full? If the parents, for example, in those former Model C schools, many of them, they pay half the teachers and they look after the infrastructure and build new infrastructure if needed. Does the department then have the right to tell them, even in using that infrastructure, that they have to take more pupils?
Look, the Constitutional Court said they've got to discuss very carefully with the school. So I think that Rivonia is not a racist school, and it has not opposed the idea of having bigger classes. But you can't have 19 kids in a class when there are thousands of kids coming every day to Gauteng. So that's a debate, and there has to be a discussion between the department and the school. But
we haven't really resolved the issue of if parents are providing more infrastructure, do they have any say over how it's used?
No, I agree with you, and I think that's part of the discussion. But you know what, just because you've got money and you can afford teachers and you want better teaching for your kids, doesn't mean it's guaranteed. So I don't think the department wants to ruin the one part of the system that's working, which is the former Model Cs. But you know what? It's a very small part of the system. It's maybe 10% of the kids. So even if all the kids were admitted, you would still have large numbers of kids in terrible township schools.
And we know that the private school system, some people may think it's the salvation. It cannot save the country. The state system has to be maintained, and the quality in it has to be maintained as well.
Look, even if we're talking about Curro, it's maybe 80 schools over the next 4 years. And there's 27,000 schools, so it's a small number. And I think we've got a lot to learn from the independent schools. We need them. We need to learn from them, from the independent schools and the former Model C schools, how to run a good school. But at the same time, we mustn't see them as solutions for most of the kids.